Hi everyone, it is Monday. Hopefully you are having a good one. I realized I hadn't done like a front-facing chat in a while. I think it's been since January or February. So I figured we'd do one today. Plus the majority of what I want to talk about, I just felt needed to be more of this format than me coloring in a book. And hopefully it won't get too rambly and long. I'm going to try to keep it concise. And yeah, I didn't go to a lot of trouble for this. I didn't put on any makeup. Actually, my hair being down might be the biggest difference in this video than the normal ponytail it's in. If you want to vision the person behind a lot of my recordings, this is pretty much what you get, with the exception of my hair being in a ponytail. So just don't have the energy for more, but like I feel like this is just passable for me. Like, all right, let's just be real today. And I'm nervous, as you can tell, recording this way. So like I said, at first I wanted to give an update on Winry. So I had mentioned in my flip through video Saturday, one of the reasons I've been so quiet the last few weeks in particular is her health issues have been getting worse. While she's been able to maintain her weight, she has been acting like she feels worse. She started having stomach issues again this past week, and we had to take her to the vet, and she's been doing like these weird spacing out episodes at night after she gets her fluids. And it's been a whole ordeal that the vet, and it wasn't the normal vet we see, but she said, these are pretty in line with the signs of end-stage renal disease or end-stage kidney disease. And so I know that my time with her is probably limited. She really wanted to lay on me all week. Like, it was even difficult to work around her because she would lay on me so much. And I spent a lot of the week just attached, from coloring, from any type of hobby work, anything that I couldn't do with her laying on me, because just her needs took priority. And I wanted to spend as much time with her as I could. I really thought, like, Wednesday night going into Thursday, things really weren't looking good, and that I'd have to make a decision on Thursday. But she perked back up when she went to the vet. They said she had gained a little bit there, and a weight, and so we went with some GI meds. And she still acted off Thursday night, and I got to thinking, hey, she really only acts like she feels really, really bad after we give her fluids. And we give about 100 milliliters per every day. And I was like, maybe, because she's small, I was like, maybe the sheer amount of fluids on her body over that 12-hour span, because the first 12 hours after the fluids, she seems to be feeling really bad, but then the second 12 hours she perks up a little bit. And I was like, maybe we could do fluids twice a day so they're not as heavy of an impact on her system, because they seem like they're making her uncomfortable. So I messaged the vet, and she's like, yeah, let's try that. And when I tell y'all, she has had a really good couple of days. We started that Friday night, and she has been not as clingy to me. She's been up, more active. She even where she was doing kind of a stiff-legged look in her back legs when she walked because of her kidneys and her arthritis, like even that has lessened somewhat. So I think her kidneys are bothering her less. She has been eating more. She has been more, just more here, and she hasn't had any more of the spacing out episodes. So I'm really happy. And she even, when we weighed her this week, she was up from last week when we weighed her, which is the first gain she's had, significant gain she's had in weeks. So, really happy about it. I'm trying to temper my expectations though, because, it could very well be, she's having to have smaller amounts of the fluids just because her kidneys are not functioning well, and she probably still just has a limited amount of time, but she certainly acts like she feels better. She's more like herself um, prior to getting sick, and so I'm at least happy that she seems like she's feeling better, and maybe it'll buy us a little more time. So um, that that's been the big reason I've been away. But I did want to provide an update because, sorry, I'm just checking the time. Because I know like things seemed pretty dire last week, and they may still be. The past couple months have been kind of a roller coaster where she'll act like she feels a little better for a while, and then she'll slide. And so, again, I'm trying not to get too comfortable with this, but it was a lot better weekend overall with her. And Bagheera is also having issues with his thyroid levels. He has maxed out on the medication he can safely take, and so the vet asked me to try some thyroid food with him. There's only like one brand and one type. He won't touch the dry food, but he is eating the wet food mostly at night, and I can't leave it out all the time because the other cats don't need to eat it because it will affect their thyroid. But during the night when everybody's asleep, I will put it like a bowl beside him, and he will snack throughout the night on that bowl. And funny enough, the only cat I've even seen try to eat out of it is Winry, which that is the last thing she needs. But the last few weeks he has gained. He had been just consistently losing weight, and that was a concern with his thyroid in that everything else in his blood work seemed fine, but like he would just continuously lose weight and we could never get him to stabilize. And the past 2 weeks he has gained like a tenth of a pound, like it's very small amounts. He's basically stable. And that's been huge as well, because he's been consistently losing for at least a couple months now. So um, good news on the front of the cats at least. And yeah, so I'm trying to think. It's the start of the week I'm about a month in to my new role, and we're doing I've been helping out with a conference that's coming up, a big conference for the company, reviewing emails for that person that's developing them, helping them get the emails scheduled and launched. And because I already have the QA certification that's needed to do that. And so the other two people that got hired about the same time, they're brand new to the company, so they have to go through a process to become certified in that type of approval launch scenario. And so I've been helping with that. And this week I'll start officially onboarding to like the main campaigns I'll be working on next year. So it's definitely been a very different environment. There's a lot more support, a lot more resources, and I'm thankful just because with Winry and everything going on the last few weeks, like I don't know if I could have handled that in my previous role with the heavy volume, and it's a much more process driven, kind of not laid back, but appropriately resourced group. And so I feel like this will definitely be more achievable in terms of like a work-life balance. And I'm so thankful for that. Really and truly, the stress level of my job has dropped immensely. My body's still playing that I've been anxious for so long that I'm going to get anxious about something else. So it's been anxious about Winry for a while. It's been anxious about the next thing I'm going to talk about. So it's trying to find things to be anxious about. I'm working with my therapist on that, and trying to work through that stuff. I was trying to think. Oh, I went for my yearly physical last week, and given the fact that I'm like 130 pounds overweight, and all my various health issues, fibromyalgia, gastroparesis, depression, anxiety, all this stuff, my blood PCOS, my blood work actually came back really good. Usually I'm kind of pre-diabetic because of the PCOS. It causes insulin resistance, and so they consider me like at risk for developing diabetes. And given my family history too, that's also it's a risk factor. My brother actually has it, and actually developed type 2, and he was not even that much overweight, but it's just the genetics in my family were kind of predisposition to it. I figured I'd get hollered at for my uh, blood sugar being borderline again, because it's always borderline. And I didn't. I actually need to go check those numbers. They posted on the portal, but the nurse called me to give me a rundown. But I've been dragging a lot, very fatigued lately. So again, my vitamin B12 and vitamin D levels are low. We go through this pattern where I will go get blood work. They will both be low. The doctor will say, okay, well, we're going to do 6 weeks. And this is me taking over-the-counter vitamin D, like 2,000 units a day. And it's still low. It's been low for like a decade. Even if I take over the counter stuff. So he will prescribe me from the pharmacy like a once a week vitamin D supplement that's like 10,000 units I use, or whatever they're called. And I'm probably misusing the word units. But I'll take it once a week. My vitamin D levels will go back up to an acceptable range. I will feel better for a month or two. Then at the end of 6 weeks, he's like, well, I don't want to do this anymore because I don't want your levels to get too high. And we'll cut it off. I'll go back to the over-the-counter, and then sure enough, 2 or 3 months later, I'm dragging ass again, and they're low again, and we have to do this process all over again. I am trying a different supplement this time after being told they were low last week. I haven't gotten the pharmacy fill yet, but I did pick up a different supplement that I think is actually better. Problem with supplements like vitamin D, milk thistle, any type of supplements you take, they're not as heavily regulated by the FDA, and so you have to really look at whether they've been tested by third parties to see if the levels in them are actually as accurate as they say they are, and I suspect that the one I was taking wasn't accurate. But same thing happens with my B12. It goes low. I go in for shots monthly, first weekly for a few weeks, then to monthly, and then those will stop, and then a couple months later I'm low again. I don't know why we just don't keep going with this. It seems weird. Like my vitamin D has just been like diabolically low for a long time, and a lot of that has to do with my health issues. It has to do with the fact that I'm obese. There's a number, I don't go out in the sun, I'm a vampire. There are a number of reasons for that. So but I know, like, I really struggle more when those levels are totally tanked, and I can feel it, I can tell, and sure enough they were. But then the nurse also fussed at me. So my cholesterol is at 227, and it is borderline high. I think the top number is either 230 or 232. And I have to go back and look at the one last year, but I also had a borderline high number last year. And she said, you know, he doesn't want to put you on a statin right now because it will cause probably more muscle pain than what you have right now. And I'm like, well, I don't even think I should worry about a statin right now. Like, I don't think we're quite there yet anyway. I appreciate his focus and his willingness to work on things rather than dismiss my symptoms and my issues, but I don't think we're quite there yet. So I need to do better through diet and exercise. Again, my family, my dad's side of the family has a strong disposition for towards higher cholesterol. My dad made huge overall in his diet. He lost a bunch of weight. He started exercise routine. Like, he did all these things to naturally try to lower his cholesterol, but like even he has to be on something now, even though he's done all these things and low sodium has maintained like all these different changes that he made. Like it just kept creeping up because of family genetics basically, and so he still has to take something, but he delayed it for a number of years. So that's kind of where I'm at and what I think I should, try to work on. And so one of the things I did is I signed up with a dietitian through Nourish. Um, I was watching, if you watch TikTok at all or any, I think she's on other social media. Her name's Callie. It's called the Lose It Log, I think is her account name. And she has lost over 60 pounds. And she works with a dietitian through Nourish, and her insurance covers it 100%. They have set her like calorie count. They've set her macros. It's a reasonable number given like her weight and her plans to lose weight. Like she gets like 2,100 calories a day, but she has to hit protein and fiber goals. They've been developed between her and her nutrition, and like her big thing when she goes online is like, hey, these goals are not up for debate. They're set by my dietitian and myself, and you know, um, I'm not going, not by strangers on the internet, as she puts, and I really love that. But she sounds like she's had such a good experience, and at this point, I have so many different health issues that like I'm getting conflicting information. So, before I got sick, prior to 2014, before all this started, I dropped maybe 50 pounds by myself through like calorie counting, aiming for more protein in my diet rather than carbs, not going low carb, but lower carb and like a lower percentage. And I was very successful. Like it was, and I was able to exercise a lot more because I wasn't having the issues I have now. And I was lifting free weights and I was doing all these hiking, I was doing all these cool things, and I maintained it for a number of years. And then when I got sick in 2014 and had that feral cat bite, and then I got rabies vaccinations, then I developed mono, I guess because my immune system was down. And ever since I've had that mono, it's like I have flare-ups of mono throughout the years, but no doctor ever wants to take me seriously when I say that. But ever since then, all this other stuff has come into effect. And so now the plan I would have followed back then is different because especially like, so for example, I have gastroparesis, and one of the big things a lot of dietitians and nutritionists I follow say right now is, it's very important to have a high fiber count in your diet just to be regular. It helps bind with like fats and cholesterols and stuff. It cleans out your digestive system. Like there's a lot of benefits to having higher fiber. Sorry, my nose is really itchy today. And but having gastroparesis means I have a slower digestive system. And fiber can slow down your digestive system even more. So a lot of times doctors with gastroparesis will say, hey, you shouldn't have so much fiber because it's just going to make your symptoms worse. So it's kind of like, what do I do there, right? So, and that's another reason I can't take like a GLP-1 medication. I'm all down for people that do take it, and I've seen it work for people. I think that's one of the things Callie's doing along with her nutrition. But like I'm so happy for people that have found success with it, but like there are a number of reasons why I don't want to try it, and in particular is the risk that the point of the GLP-1 medication is that it's supposed to, one of the things it does is slow down your digestion so you feel fuller longer. And because I already have gastroparesis, I can't risk making it worse. I don't want to wind up on a liquid diet for the rest of my life. So that's one big reason I can't take it. So I have to find other ways. Anyway, so I ended up signing up for consultation with Nourish for this upcoming Friday, and we'll see how it goes. It does say my insurance is going to cover it, but we're going to see. But like I said, I kind of want somebody that has a little more knowledge. I was able to pick somebody who, like you can pick from different dietitians based on the different medical issues you have, like your goals and stuff. And like this woman, she focuses on like women's health, like digestive issues, um, kind of higher cholesterol, things like that. A lot of the issues I have kind of match up with what she focuses on. I'm also looking for somebody that, so really here lately, I mean, I don't mind to log food and count calories, but I'm also kind of looking more into like moderation, intuitive eating, something that I can adapt to a lifestyle where from one day to the next I don't know how I'm going to feel. So like when I have a fibro flare up or a mono flare up or whatever, like I did early last week, I just felt awful for 2 days. I didn't hardly want to eat. Most days I'll be lucky if I eat like one bigger sized meal, and then I might have a snack later at night because of the digestion issues in my stomach. So like, there are, where was I going with this? I just need something that like when life gets hard, like it always does, inevitably, I can either modify what I'm doing and I have a plan, or it's something I can consistently do no matter how I feel. And then obviously lose weight over time, but if it's slow, that's fine. But like try to help with some of the other health issues that I have. Yeah, I need somebody to kind of look at I'm like that meme with the guy, I can't remember who he's from, but the guy with the board with all the red string going across, like that's me trying to explain my health history to the dietitian, to a doctor, to a therapist. Like that is me. And I'm hoping she can kind of take a holistic look at all that and help me come up with something that, like I said, the diet side might not be as hard. I think the exercise side is harder. For instance, I will just have a random flare up of pain. Last night, I'm assuming it's the sciatica nerve in my left leg. It decided it was going to flare up and hurt, which my right knee had been aching all day just because of the weather and seasons has a huge influence on my aches and pains. But my left leg and the sciatica nerve or whatever main nerve runs through there just decided it was going to act a fool. And so it hurts to sit down on a chair. It hurts to get up and down off the couch. It's one of those things where it feels like if I could stretch it out or massage it, it would feel better. But in the past, I have learned that if I try to do that, it makes it 20 times worse, to the point where I can't even walk for 3 days because all I do is just piss it off more. So the best thing to do is just kind of ignore it. Don't do any major exercise, don't do anything, and give it time to calm down. It's like almost like I have tendonitis type flare-ups in all parts of my body. Like random nerves, random muscles will do this. And if I try to work it out, or if I try to exercise on it, or I try to stretch it out or massage it or whatever, it just makes it way worse. And most of the time I have to go and get a steroid shot to calm it down. It's a huge problem in the upper side of my back and down my right arm. It's one of the things that influences my coloring and what I can color with, because when I get a flare-up like that, I have to baby it. Otherwise, it could spread all the way up my arm into my shoulder and neck and my back. But a couple months ago, like I was using our weight machine on the lowest weight and going through it, and one day I was not taking my time. I was rushing, and I felt that spot in my back flare up because of it. And so like exercise is very difficult for me. I have to go extremely slow to kind of warm up my muscles to lower the risk of them doing something like this. But then there are some days I wake up and this happens, and then I can't exercise, right? Like I can't do anything there, because if I do, it's just going to make it worse. This is not a work through the pain situation. This is if I work through the pain situation, I'm going to have to go to the doctor and get a steroid shot. They're very familiar with me. It's happened numerous times, mostly my right side, my right leg, or my hip, and from my knee to my hip basically, and then from the right upper side of my back all the way down to like my wrist. And that was also where I developed that cellulitis last year, was in my right arm, which was extremely painful. Um, and that's where I even had that, felt like a swollen lymph node for months, an aching lymph node that took months to go away. And they did what was it they did? They did a type of scan, wasn't an ultrasound, CT scan maybe, just to check and make sure there wasn't anything weird going on with like the lymph nodes in this area, and it all checked out fine. They didn't see any sign of anything last year. So yeah, just the beauty of chronic illness. So I really need somebody who can help me figure that out, because I get so discouraged, and I just stopped doing, like, swimming seems to be the least problematic, but it's also a lot to get to the place I can swim at. It takes up a good half a day when you count driving there, going for a couple hours, and then coming back. So yeah, I'll let you know how it goes, and whether or not I recommend them. And yeah, so I'll have my therapist each week or every other week, and I'll have my dietitian like every other week or week. So this is going to be fun. But anyway, all right. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? I was trying to get myself warmed up, and then now I'm going to have to come back to this for the second half. I haven't been coloring much. I was coloring a lot out of, where'd it go? I always do this. It's here somewhere. I was coloring out of, okay, yeah, I've colored a number of pictures out of Simple Fall. I would like to get done with this by like mid-December as another completed book. My favorite recent one was this one. Given my mood lately, I found I have been really embracing like muted tones and not maybe quite as bright and vibrant. And so I've been kind of leaning into the fall colors a bit. I did do, and I may show you that when I come back, a picture from the Color by Number Cats that turned out looking really nice. I think I'm really going to, by Jade Summer, I think I'm really going to enjoy that book. Honestly, that's all I've done this month. I had so many plans, and then for reasons I'll talk about, winter happened, the election happened. I've had a couple weeks of just really trying to process a bunch of stuff, and I just haven't had the want to color that much. So yeah, I did buy some more weebles and crochet though, because I did indulge in some retail therapy, but I am doing better. I got a notice for my bank account that I spent like so much less in October, and I was like, how? And I'm sitting there thinking, I only bought like two things of supplies I needed to show you, and like a handful of books. So it was actually like, here lately I haven't been spending quite as much. I mean, this month's been an exception, and I also just bought a planner. Oh yeah, I can tell you all about the planner. So if you were with me at the beginning of the year, I had used, actually I'm going to get those together and show you while I'm talking about those. So I'm going to gather all that. I'll be right back. It'll feel like I just left to y'all. So all right, I'm back. The Color by Number Cats. So one of the books I flipped over the weekend, I did this page. There we go. With, I think it was Ohuhu markers and the Copics. Let me tell you, when it comes to set levels of gray, I highly recommend the Copic sketch. Sorry, I'm looking at the camera where it's recording. I highly recommend, I used Ohuhu markers, but then I have the Copic sketch because I'm fortunate to have the full set. Their grays are amazing, where they have like the, they'll have cool gray 00 all the way through cool gray 10, and all the different levels in between. And for all the like dark medium, light, very light grays. That gave me a lot to work with. I think I went with was it the neutrals on him? Anyway, that gave me a great distinction between the grays. I do recommend those if you're going to use grays a lot, and I think the picture turned out beautiful. So I'm really pleased with this book. I will probably post that on Instagram today or tomorrow. Oh, planners. So the other big thing I did this week, other than set up the Nourish stuff, is if you were with me at the beginning of the year or last year or previous years, I keep trying to use planners for life and work. And I had some success earlier this year. I get a lot of my stickers, planner stickers from, it's called Hubman and Chub Girl. I can put them in the description. But they also sell planners and like notebooks. And so at the beginning of the year, instead of using like a different type of planner, I picked up their A5, which is supposed to be a year-long monthly and weekly planner. And you can go back. I think I might have a playlist for it. But I was doing really well with it. I was using the Hubman and Chub Girl stickers, and I was using like a little photo printer I bought, and I really liked this, but I noticed like I only used it a lot through April, into April, and like you can see how much thicker the notebook was going to get. I realized it was going to be unusable if I kept sticking the stickers in it I was using, and there were some things about it I didn't like because this was just like a work and life kind of thing. And then I try to keep my coloring and hobbies separate in this because there weren't any bullet pages in here for me to keep up with, like a completed pages or buddy colors or things like that. And keeping up with two of them was pretty obnoxious. I was trying to look because I had to do a monthly spread in here as well using stencils. And then I tried, anyway, oh, I think this is the one I tried last year. Anyway, trying to keep them up in two just wasn't working for me, and life got weird around May and June, and then I just went off the rails and didn't go back because they were just too hard to keep up with. So, I want to get back into using a planner again because I like to keep it not only for organization but also kind of like keeping stuff like the photos that I take, the completed pages, stuff like that, stuff I can look back on. Gives you like a feeling of accomplishment, I guess, to like complete pages in there and check things off and stuff. And I could always stand to be more organized. I've noticed as I've gotten older, things are slipping more and more, and I don't always have the memory that I used to. So I was trying to look for a planner where I could combine everything into one and have like a monthly spread, have the weeklies, where I can still do my photos and I can still do other things. And then also have extra like bulleted extra dot grid pages or blank pages at the end of each month where I could put like my coloring stuff or my hobby stuff on. And so I was looking and looking, and I settled on a plum paper planner. They're hugely customizable, and I really like that. It was hard to find something that kind of had a partial bullet journal feel and a partial planner feel. So I don't have, because some people really get enjoyment out of like drawing out the month grids and like the weeklies, lines and stuff. Like, I don't want to do all that. Like, I want it there ready. I can put stickers in there and I can add color, but like, I don't want to go through all that every month. I don't have the time or energy. So I was trying to find something that kind of mushed both of those things together, and I was able to really customize something with plum paper. And so I built a planner basically there, with everything that I wanted, plus some habit tracker kind of color in pages that looked fun. And I'm supposed to get that next week. I'll probably do a video where I show you guys what I did and everything. And I'm not buying any more stickers yet for next year, for one thing, Usually, my favorite ones are Hubman and Chub Girl stickers. For one thing, they usually have a really good Black Friday sale where you save like $50 if you buy a certain amount. I'm hoping they do that again this year. I also want to get the planner, and the stickers I do still have from them, make sure that they fit before I buy them. Um, and so I'm really excited about that. And I don't know if there'll be a lot of goal planning because I'm just not there in my life. You know, right now it's more of a live by the day kind of thing, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe this will be the answer. Maybe I'll be able to keep with it more often. We'll see. So, okay, I think that's everything random life update stuff. So, all right, so looking drastically different, and that's because it's been a week. It's been a week since I posted, or not posted, but I recorded the first half of this video. Am I wearing the same shirt? I might be wearing the same shirt. I promise I haven't been wearing it for a week straight. Like, just took a shower today. I just pulled my hair back in a ponytail. I really want to get this done and loaded, so I just not looking my best today, but that's okay. So yeah, it's been a week since I posted all the other updates, just as a quick kind of bringing us up to date kind of thing. Winry is continuing to do really well. I don't know, this time the magic might have been the B12 shots. We haven't weighed her yet this week. We're going to weigh her Wednesday, but based on her being in the litter box and the amount of food she's eating and like volume things without having to go into too much detail, I'd say she's still eating pretty well. I mean, I would have guessed she's hopefully maintained her weight this week. We can either give her another B12 shot, I think at 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So we're going to see. The thing with B12, B vitamins is it's water soluble. So like what she doesn't use will just leave your body through urination. So same with people. So we might go ahead and give it to her at the 2 week mark on Friday just to try to keep her going. But like it's just been a fantastic turnaround. And it's hard for me to say that because I feel like every time I say something like that, I jinx things. But like she is so much more present, like she's active, she looks way more comfortable, she's eating a whole lot better. So I am just over the moon. Like I really, this time a week and a half ago, like thought she was getting near, end time, and this has really just been like a 180. So I'm trying not to get my hopes up that like, okay, she's fine now. But trying to just stay optimistic that, maybe we do have a little more quality time with her, but I'm going to try not to think too far ahead on that. I was supposed to go with my brother to a convention next month, but I think I'm going to let him know this week that I can't go, and I hate it because me and him always have a good time when we go to like anime conventions and game conventions, but because she's still on nausea shots twice a day and IV fluids twice a day, my husband can't do that by himself. It's a 2-person team. I don't want to board her. If she's doing so well, I don't want to throw her off with me being gone a week and her being upset again and stressed. So for right now, I'm probably just going to hang here. I'm sure hopefully he'll have a friend that goes with him. But if not, I think he'll still enjoy it. So I'll have to let him know this week. But Winry's doing really well. Me, on the other hand, it's been a hard month, honestly. I think part of it is the stress over Winry and like switching roles at work and all that stuff. And I think the other part of it is, I don't know what it is, but like big swings in atmospheric, like barometric pressure. Like when we do a big jump from like winter to spring, or kind of like that fall weather. I say fall, winter, because we get super cold here, but like average temperature in the winter is probably 40, 50 degrees. When we make a big swing from that to like the 70s and 80s, and then vice versa, when we make that swing down from 70s and 60s into 50s and 40s, for some reason it just wreaks havoc on me. If I'm going to get sick with like a mystery viral infection, that will be the time I get sick. Those are times where I wind up with bronchitis, with strep throat. Um, it's always been in October, November for some reason, or at least in the last 10 years it has. I have severe body aches. Like I'll wake up and it feels like somebody's just been whacking me with a broomstick all night. And all my fatigue will just completely like go wild, and I will just barely feel like I can do anything. And those times are the worst times of the year. So like March, not really as much March, but like April, beginning of May, and then like September to November. And it sucks because those are my favorite times of the year because I love that weather, right? The 60s, 70s here. I don't like it being super humid. I don't like it being 30, 40 degrees. I like it being 60s, 70s. And we don't get a lot of that here, so I try to take advantage of that as much as possible. And those are usually the times I'm feeling my worst physically. I feel like my fibro is tied to seasonal type stuff like that. That's when it seems to be its worst. Usually I only have to take ibuprofen a couple times a day, almost the majority of the year, but in that transition period, I have to take it like every 6 hours. And that's what I'm doing right now. But I say all that to say that like the week before last, I felt sick a couple days. Like I liken it to if you've ever had mono before, and all my illnesses started off with having mono about 10 years ago. And all this autoimmune, fibro, whatever's happening in me started with that mono infection. Whenever I get like if it gets bad enough, I go to the doctor, they're like, oh, you have a viral infection, there's nothing we can do. It always feels like mono again, like the same symptoms. And so a couple weeks ago, I had a couple days where I felt that way. And then I felt a little better over that weekend before I recorded the first half of this. And then last week, about the middle of the week, it did it again, like, or about Tuesday. And this time it not only affected me, it affected my husband, who I think also has a touch of a post-viral kind of illness, because he got mono the same time I did, and it seems like a lot of times when I'm feeling my worst, he's also feeling bad. So there were a couple days, and it could have been we just picked up something where we went to the vet the week before. Like I said, it's kind of like my immune system's suppressed, so I'm more vulnerable to picking up things. We went to the vet, with Winry the week before, so it could be that we just picked up something. I don't know, but like he felt better after just a day or two, and it took me until today to feel any better. And I think I mentioned my vitamin B and D levels are low. I did get those prescriptions filled, my B12 shots tomorrow. I've been taking the vitamin D and upping my vitamin D intake for the last 3 or 4 days, and like it's like I have to make sure I actually took the pill, because it's just like it's like I'm tossing it in the trash, right? Like it's just has made zero change in my fatigue's been the worst. Just absolutely crushing. Have to just be on the couch most of the time. This is the first time I've been in this office in a week, probably. No coloring, no video games, just trying to work as much as I can, trying to rest as much as I can, and just not feeling up to anything. And then in the evening starting to feel sick with like some nasal drainage, that sort of hot feeling around your face, like, you know, you can feel like you're gonna get a fever but you're not quite there yet, and just body aches. And it's just been, you know, probably for the last week it's been like that. And I was just really hoping I'd come out of it at some point, but the temperatures also, like I said, made that really full dip into fall. It happened a little later this year than it normally does. Normally it's October. But this year it didn't start doing this till November. So anyway, I say all that to say I'm feeling just a little bit better today. I'm like, I don't care how I look. I don't care. Hopefully I don't offend anybody what I say in this video. If it's super long, then people can just listen to what they want to listen to. I just got to get this video up or it just won't go up because there's been so much happening since I wanted to originally do this video. And I'm like, we just got to do it. Just got to get it done. So while I have the energy this morning, like I said, I took a shower and am trying to take advantage of what little energy I do have today. And but yeah, haven't been doing any coloring this past week. That color by number cats picture I showed y'all, I think was the last thing I colored a week ago. I have a couple buddy colors I really want to try to get done this next week, but this month is going to be low on finished pages. I may just combine it with December. We'll see. I do have a number of videos planned. If I can get the energy to do them, we'll see. I do have Thursday and Friday off. I think we're going to go to my mom's on Thanksgiving. And then we also have a turkey to cook ourselves over the weekend, so we're not sneaking as much of my parents' leftovers. They still have a fair amount themselves. It's really nice because like the whole week after Thanksgiving, usually we cook up enough that, you know, for most of the week after Thanksgiving we have plenty of leftovers, which is really nice. Yeah, so that happened. I did have my appointment with the dietitian. I will probably talk about that in a future coloring chat. I don't meet with her again for 2 weeks. She gave me a few things to start on. We'll see. We'll see. I didn't disagree with anything that she mentioned, so and she really, really hit home the increased vitamin D intake. More so than I had been taking, she thinks. And so I get my blood work checked in 6 weeks, so now's the time. If I'm going to mess around with the supplements I'm taking and stuff, now's the time to do it, when I'm going to go get it retested. So like I said, I'll talk about that later on. I forgot to put on chapstick. My lips are probably chapped. Sorry about that. But yeah, that's just in a quick nutshell, I guess, what else happened this next week. Last thing I want to talk about, and this is the part I've been really struggling with. I've tried recording this, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, and at this point I just need to do it or I'm never going to do it, because we're like 2 or 3 weeks out from post-election. So I did want to briefly talk about the election and a couple things on that. And again, I figured this would be the best thing to do face to face. I had mentioned in a video a couple weeks ago about how I know there's a lot of people that are upset and scared and worried about what's going to happen next, a lot of them in marginalized groups. And I, you know, basically just wanted to say, like, you know, what's the words I'm trying, I see you, I hear you, like, I'm there too. I'm scared what's going to come next. I was upset by the results, and I don't know, well, I'll talk about it in a minute, but I was upset by the results as well. I'm really worried for friends and family, you know, worried for myself as a woman, what this is going to mean for my rights. And So, like, I just want to say, like, I know there's a lot of people out there like, oh, you have nothing to worry about. No, no, I think worrying is, valid, and there's, because it comes down right now, the biggest thing is Supreme Court picks. If there's a very good possibility that the Supreme Court goes even more conservative than it already is, it's packed with enough younger conservative people that they will roll back rights for a number of marginalized groups. And it could impact us for the next 20 or 30 years. I mean, I may not see a different court in my lifetime unless they increase the number of Supreme Court justices or something like that. And I don't see that happening anytime soon. But so it is a concern, and if you are belittling that or dismissing that and not thinking that's a big deal, then obviously lucky you to have the privilege to not have your ability to marry or your ability to exist, on the chopping block. So and if you get mad at that, sorry. It's just the truth. I don't plan on making a whole bunch of changes to the channel or anything like that, but I did have, some feedback where I thought, I feel like I've made it pretty clear who I am as a person on here and what my values are and stuff, through my coloring chats, what little I have talked about, certain subjects and stuff like that. I try not to get into it too much because I'm trying to strike a balance between being realistic about where the world is right now and how it affects us versus also being a distraction, because with social media and everything else, like, there are other places where you're just getting hit over the head with all this information, and sometimes you just need a distraction from that too. And I tend to lean more towards the distraction side of things. And I guess I haven't been as balanced as I want to be. And so I will change that moving forward. But I had saw the feedback and I was like, if you've watched me over the last 6 years in my coloring chats, I feel like I've made it pretty clear kind of where I stand. But maybe I haven't. So I just want to be clear here. And maybe I have played both sides there, tried to play the safe route. And for that, I apologize, because I feel like I should be crystal clear on who I am and how I feel. But, and quickly, for those of you that are about to click away and be like, well, this is coloring, I don't want, it's not about politics. Politics are going to affect coloring in the coloring community. I hate to break it to you, but these tariffs, supposed tariffs that are going to happen, I guarantee the prices of coloring supplies, particularly stuff like Derwent, Copic, Japanese products, UK products that we buy, are going to be possibly affected by these tariffs. The prices are going to go up. You may be convinced inflation is going to get better. I don't think it's going to get better. I don't think prices are going to get better. I think they're going to get worse than they are now. So that's going to impact what supplies we can purchase, what we even have access to, and at what price point we can purchase it. Potential censorship laws are going to affect the coloring books that we love and the coloring book artists. There may be some things that the coloring book artists can no longer publish. And so why you think it may not impact us, it will. And the repercussions from this will impact us. So, I mean, if you're still not convinced, what have you, you don't have to listen to this, but I'm just saying, think about that before you say, oh, I don't like to mix the two things. I'm sorry, but you may not like it, but they're gonna mix, whether you like it or not. Anyway, so last time I tried to record this, it was 50 minutes long on this piece, so I want to be quick about this. I am somebody that grew up I feel like Star Trek kind of influenced me more than anything when I was a kid, other than the fact I grew up in a lower middle class neighborhood. My dad worked in a printing press at a factory, and there was a whole variety of people that worked there with him, and we grew up in a neighborhood where a lot of the employees worked at the same place. And so, like, when they would have New Year's parties and stuff, this was back when they used to have company picnics and company like Halloween parties and events where the kids could go to, and really they all kind of became like a second family to me growing up, all these people that worked at this business. And anytime my parents would have like New Year's parties or stuff like that, like there'd be all kinds of cultures, all kinds of people that my parents were friends with that I would see and interact with growing up. And I think that helps, me initially getting exposure to different, types of people and stuff like that kind of helped a little. Um, but what really impacted me was Star Trek, funny enough. I'm a huge Star Trek fan. I grew up watching, I think DS9's my favorite, but I love it all. TNG, Voyager, well, almost all of it. The prequel stuff I don't particularly like much, like Enterprise and everything. But the values of Star Trek was something that I've always held on to, and something that I've just wished for so much, is that one day maybe our world can be more like Star Trek, in that, they treat other alien races equally. They treat each other with mutual respect. They work together to solve problems. Stuff science-based, fact-based. There's, a push for discovery and learning new things. And I think throughout the show, too, they also do a good job of questioning their values and their expectations and changing things if it doesn't match up with those types of attitudes. Like there's this episode where I think Starfleet wants to take Data and study him for something because he's an android, and they say he's like not a sentient person with his own rights, because he's an android. And like there's this tribunal thing, and I think Picard or Riker speaks on behalf of him, and they argue that even though he's not a flesh and blood person or alien or whatever, he does still have rights as a sentient being and stuff like that. And it really kind of challenges that idea of, again, mutual respect, kind of treating everyone equally, like that, and constantly trying to be better. And I've carried into that as an adult. Like those are important values to me. Like I think everyone and to summarize it, I feel like everybody should just mind their own business and let people live their lives. And I don't understand this fixation on who can marry, who can, what people wear in public, what religion they follow. I don't understand the fixation on this, on trying to make everybody do what you want them to do, when we have bigger, like, all this focus on society matching and like only certain people having rights and this and that, when like we have problems that are just on such a bigger scale. I mean, we are I I don't joke, but like seriously, like I could sit here all day and talk about things like late stage capitalism and just the big cracks we have in like our economic problems that are coming down the road, the ability of reproduction rates, and like how much of a actual workforce we'll have in the future versus people that are elderly or people that are children and unable to work. Like who's going to support those groups with things like Social Security and stuff like that, government programs like that. There's just so many different things that I feel like honestly are so messed up at this point. They kind of need to be stripped down and rebuilt, not disappearing completely, But I feel like I'm not happy. I'm definitely not happy with Republicans' way of doing things, but I'm not happy with the Democrats' like constant push to the right either. I'm very, I guess, progressive in my ideals. I feel like everybody, regardless of who they are, regardless of whether they can work or contribute value in this capitalist kind of setup, regardless of who you are, you should get basic shelter, food, water, health care. Um, I feel like we do better building each other up, and like there's a quote somewhere about all ships, the tides rising, all ships together, or something like that. I feel like if we can support each other and build each other up instead of this I got mine, screw you mentality that we seem to have right now, I feel like we would be better for it. And when I was growing up, I know my parents were like, we work hard to help make sure you have a better life. They're like, we weren't able to go to college. We had to start working, low middle income, blue collar type jobs, and work, third shift and long hours and overtime during holidays and stuff like that. We do all this and we sacrifice all this to, I mean, from the time I was a kid, it's like you're going to college, and there are issues with that, right? Like, I mean, not every kid's, you know, college is the best choice, but like it was just in my head was like, look, you're going to, we do what we do now so that your generation will have an easier way to go. Maybe not necessarily easier, but kind of easier, right? Like we do this so that future generations can be better off. And somewhere in that 20 years, like from the time I was a kid till the time I hit my 20s or 30s, I feel like we morphed from that kind of society, like these generations walk so future generations can run kind of mentality, like building blocks, to no, I get what's mine and screw you. Why should you get something that I didn't have? And it's this kind of selfish, as long as I have what I want to have, then I don't care about anybody else's stuff. And I don't know when that happened, and maybe it was always there and I just grew up, with a different mindset, but it's terrifying, and I don't think it is conducive to us moving to a new, level of humanity, right? Like I think we're going to have to get back to that empathetic, helping each other out kind of mentality. But if we're going to go to that level, anyway, I say all that to say that's kind of where I'm at. I also realize I speak from a place of privilege because I am, a middle-aged white woman in the South, and there are a lot of things that I can't imagine that other groups go through day to day, that, the type of racism, prejudice, the taking rights away and this and that. And for people that are upset because family members or friends have cut them off because of who they voted for, this or that, again, tough. I'm not sure where I fall on that line, but I'm certainly not going to sit here and gatekeep other people's emotions. I'm doing this video just because I feel like I need to do it and say something, because I feel like me as a person, I need to do better than I have been doing if I want the type of society like I envision. And so I feel like I need to make, say these things and make this video. But I'm not sitting here saying anybody else needs to do that. I'm not saying anybody else needs to take the approach I am. If you are angry and hurt and scared for your own rights and this and that, and you are like and you've been fighting for your rights for years, and you're like, I'm tired, I need a break, I'm burnt out, I get it. Oh, I get it. Like, And I'll finish this off with a little bit of a story. Like, I totally get that. There's other people that need to step in and step up. And I want to be one of those people, at least to the capacity that I can. So if you're one of those people that's upset about being cut off or whatever, I'm not here to hold your hand, and I guess I'm not here if you can't understand why someone who might be LGBTIQ or somebody that might be in a minority race or something like that is upset because, you know, things that are a woman, any women are upset with you because of you voted for, you know, Republican or whatever in this election. Like, I can't help you with that. There's nothing I think I could say or do that's going to make anybody realize that at this point. If you don't have that value set, that empathetic value set at high enough on your list, then that's what one of the reasons you voted why you did. And at the end of the day, even if you don't want politics impacting your life, it's going to impact your life whether you like it or not, because it's not just about politics at this point. It's about people's lives. It's about their ability to marry. It's about their ability to family plan. It's about their ability to just live. Um, and I mean, people, there are going to be people that, you know, whose very lives are on the line because of this. And it's not fear mongering, it's the truth. And if you can't see that and understand that with your friends who may be in marginalized groups, then there's nothing any of us can do or say to make you understand. Maybe at some point, if you get your rights, some of your rights taken away, maybe you'll understand at that point. But for those friends of mine that are just like, I'm done, I need a break, I get it. Moving forward, this is always going to be a safe space for people. I'm actually, if I'd like to do more live streams, maybe talk about some things during live streams. Not much else is going to change on my channel. I'm not going to do heavy politics at this point because, again, I just want to strike a balance. But in my coloring chats, I will talk more about issues and about things that are coming up, because I think it's going to just encroach more and more into everybody's everyday life. And if that's not your bag, if that's not something you're interested in, then you don't have to watch the coloring chats. And if you really don't like what I have to say, I mean, I guess you can go. I hate to see you go. But I don't know what else to say or do. I'm not trying to keep anybody here. I'm not gonna say nice things to placate everybody. I'm going to be kind of blunt about things. Of course, living where I live, I have a lot of friends and family that are firmly in Republican territory, and I'm still trying to learn how I want to navigate the people in my life as well. I think one of the things I learned in therapy is that if you're caught up in a mentality about somebody, like if you're going through an abusive situation, or you're suffering from narcissism, or you're going through certain situations, or some type of addictive personality or something, a lot of times in cases like that, you have to hit rock bottom before you are ready to change and you're ready to consider other viewpoints. And if you're so dead set in your feelings over facts, it might just take you hitting rock bottom before you're willing to actually listen to people. And I don't wish that on anybody, because I've been there. In terms of rock bottom, I needed to go to therapy, and I'm so glad I did that, and I don't wish that on anybody. But I think at this point, instead of trying I'm not going to be able to be there to continue to waste energy explaining to people who should already understand, you know, facts and information, that just don't want to hear it. But I will be here if you do want to listen and you do want to change, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I can't say everybody's going to be there for you, And I can't judge other people for what they do or how they react, but it's one of those things again, actions have consequences, and this is just a consequence. This is going to be a big period of FAFO over the next 4 years. And unfortunately, and I hate to see it, but it is what it is. Okay, well, at least that's a lot shorter than my other piece was. Like I said, I think it's just, I'm still processing all this, and that's kind of where I'm at. A couple things kind of to follow up on that. Ironically, I have been more tapped into, I grew up in a Christian household. We didn't go to church every Sunday, but like when I did go to church for special occasions, it was like Southern Baptist, General Baptist, very fire and brimstone type churches. I really got away from that over the years, considering myself more agnostic, unsure of what there is, and I'm probably still kind of there, but this a lot of the stuff I've watched for this election has actually brought me closer to that Christianity side again. Not the fundamentalist extremist side, but the side that is really focused on like Jesus's teachings and getting away from that fundamentalist mentality and finding more people that are out there in the world like that. Where I'm at, there's not many people out there that are not extremist or fundamentalist types. And so over the years, I've struggled to find community in regards to that. And I've found that. And so it's going to be interesting to try to explore that more. The other thing I'll say is that I have been in local politics. I served on my city council for 3 years. And when you get this mentality that I feel like people have right now where nobody wants to pitch in, nobody wants to help, they want somebody else to do it, and they elect people that they think will just fix things for them so they don't have to actually do anything. We kind of have this country thing of apathy and not laziness, but just maybe a little laziness. I think humanity's kind of geared towards being more efficient anyway. But I think we have this attitude of other people are going to do this for us. Other people are going to do the community building. Other people are going to, our elected officials are going to fix everything for us, and we don't have to do anything ourselves. And the only way we're going to be able to enact lasting change is for everybody to pitch in at some level. One of the reasons I didn't run again on the local city council is because that's all people wanted to do. They wanted to just complain online. They never wanted to show up to meetings or get involved. I spent 3 years explaining things, showing budgets, showing factual stuff to people online, maintained a social media presence so that people could get information at their fingertips. In a small town that normally you have to go to City Hall to get all that, I made sure to talk to people about things. Like, I tried to do that for 3 years, and in the hopes that I could build more interest and more people willing to help out, to, change this community from the small, good old boy mentality that it was in. And at the end of those 3 years, I was very sick. I was very exhausted. And nobody was stepping up. They were still complaining. Even when you showed them stuff and we're trying to generate new ideas, they complain about the new ideas, complain about the current stuff. They complained about all this different stuff, but nobody ever wanted to step in and help out to help build a community. And I decided not to run again based on that. I'm like, I can't change people's willingness to help out, and I alone cannot fix this town's problems. And the 3 or 5 of us that were trying to make change happen, that's not enough. You need more people than that. And so I bowed out, and 2 years later they voted in the very people that they kept complaining about the good old boys of the community, and they've handpicked their council, and now we have a mayor who is building a new subdivision that is going to double the population of the town in a time period where housing is not moving very much in this area. They're overpriced houses. We do not have the infrastructure to support all these new homes. And I've predicted that in 10 years this will cease to be a city because of all the things they're doing. They're going to bankrupt us. And I'm seeing that stuff come to fruition. I'm seeing a lot of people in the finding out period of FAFO. And again, they're all complaining on Facebook, but then elections came up. 3 city council seats were up this time around. Not a single new person put their name in. It was the 3 people that currently hold the seats. So at this point, like I said, it's about trying to step up. You've got to find ways that you can help. So like, I can't run for city council again. I can't handle that due to my health reasons. And to the fact that, you know, there's not enough of a community effort to really, I think, make change, lasting change. But there are some things I can do. I think it's called the Trevor Project. I'm going to look into that, see if there's ways I can volunteer, ways maybe I can donate to that. I donate to a lot of local cat rescues, but I'm going to also see if I can get more involved in my local food bank. I used to volunteer there once or twice before I started my most recent company, and I just haven't had a chance. So I want to get more involved there, maybe help with food distribution, donations, things like that. Continue to try to build community with, you know, some of the faith-based people that I'm that I'm following on social media. Maybe tap into that a little bit. Just find ways, you know, my day-to-day that I can do more and be more involved. And I just encourage other people to do the same if you can. I know, like, monetarily and like life is hard for everybody right now, and that's the thing. I didn't like the Democrats' platform. I didn't want to vote for Kamala, but I did because while I disagreed with their stance, I was trying to help preserve the rights of my friends and my family and my community, and try to maintain what rights we have, even though I didn't have a lot of hope that we would expand on that, you know, at least for the Supreme Court level, trying to keep it, you know, maybe having an opportunity to impact the Supreme Court. Like, did I really think anything would change on the, you know, right now I feel like the Supreme Court and corporations are running this country, and I do not anticipate that's going to change very much. And it's just not going to go. Neither one's a good situation. But I don't know, maybe we need to go through some dark periods before people are willing to change. And so I still have some hope. Gotta have hope, but like I said, I'm here if anybody wants to talk. Like I said on my live streams, I welcome everybody to talk as long as you're not being degrading to any particular group or saying ugly things, and if you want to say things and you don't like that I limit your ability to say things on my channel, then you can go say it on your channel. I'm not going to change it. Not going to entertain trolls. And yeah, that's pretty much it on that front. Like I said, not a lot's going to change on the channel moving forward, but I might talk to some length if I get more involved with like community building efforts and stuff, because again, I feel like I can do better, and I want to do better if I want to get us back on track to the future that I think we can have. So I guess on that note, I have talked enough for one video. We're going to call this good enough and slap it together. If I said anything in particular that, you know, really offended anybody, I apologize. But I mean, I apologize to a point, but uh, if you don't like that I said truth, then that's a little different. Like I said, there's a lot of y'all that just don't want to accept reality, and there's nothing I can do at this point in regards to that. But yeah, here we're just going to keep doing mostly what we're doing. I'm just going to try to find ways I can be more involved in community building and be a support for friends and family and speak out when I can, to ensure that, you know, everybody can have equal access and equal rights to live in their lives. And maybe we can find a mentality of minding our own business at some point. There's a campaign slogan for the future. If we ever have elections, fair and free elections again. I'm also demonetizing this video too, because it has controversial topics, and so I don't want to make any money off of it either. This is just how I feel. So alright, well, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and try to get this video rendered. Sorry for the mishmash results. I'm hoping Wednesday I can have a video. If not, then hopefully Friday. Like I said, I have a pencil review to do. I have the Castle Arts. I do want to show you guys my coloring space, though it might not be 100% complete. I can at least show you most of it. Like I said, maybe no completed pages this month, but we'll also have a demo with the next set of colored pencils coming soon. And maybe I can get to coloring some more this week. That would be nice. And get a little more energy and not be sleeping as much. So anyway, thanks for watching, and bye for now.